Grand Theft Hamlet is a film that no one I knew had even heard of until about a month ago. A documentary about a couple of struggling actors attempting to put on a production of Hamlet within GTA Online during the COVID-19 lockdown, told entirely from in-game footage. It's such an intriguing concept, however, that it's quickly gone from an obscure indie to something that's being talked about. It stands out in festival programs and is even being released worldwide by Mubi, and I'm pleased to report it indeed lives up to its concept. Grand Theft Hamlet is an entertaining and funny film with a surprising amount of depth that through its form makes exciting new inroads into cinematic storytelling. There's two different narratives going on simultaneously here. The in-game story, and what's going on in the real world. In-game, we see the journey of putting together their play, and it's told with a mix of classic British wit and video game absurdism. You really settle into the world of Grand Theft Auto, where acts of violence are both ever-present and comical. The film's opening, where they're talking so casually and seriously about outrunning the police, sets the tone perfectly. Outside of this idyllic world, however, there's a very real pandemic going on, and this was probably the worst thing that could happen to two underemployed actors. While they do occasionally explicitly discuss what's happening, most of it is told through implication, and the contrast between these two stories adds a surprising amount of depth and emotional complexity to the film. The deadpan way they treat the world is amplified by the cinematography using the in-game camera. Directors Sam Crane and Penny Grills have, as much as possible, shot this like an actual movie. There's of course Twitch-style gameplay footage, but also establishing shots and shots that have been set up with care. And the editing is also as conventional as humanly possible, given the self-imposed limitations. It feels like a fairly traditional narrative, and that's incredibly impressive given the circumstances. There's a story with ups and downs, and it just happens to take place within GTA Online. One of the most common things I heard in the run-up to its London Film Festival screening was, is this just going to be a YouTube video but in the cinema? And the answer to that is thankfully no. This is undoubtedly avant-garde filmmaking, pushing the boundaries of film form. And I don't think there's many points of comparison. Video game adaptations are usually, you guessed it, adaptations. And in almost all circumstances, the loss of the interactive storytelling elements is never made up for. This is different. It's not so much telling a story that was in a video game, but using a video game in order to tell a new narrative. And a narrative that is fit for cinema. It's an effortless blend of film, theatre, documentary, and game. And incredibly it manages to be as entertaining as it is unique. There's almost a popcorn movie vibe to it. It's funny, but the wildness of the world of GTA means there's a lot of spectacle too, and the outlandish ways they find to stage the famous scenes in Hamlet never ceases to amuse. Where the film does falter, however, is in some of the more serious analytic discussions of Hamlet itself. While there is some insight, in particular one of the actors who was only recently out as transgender discussing how she finds the story relatable, much of it is unfortunately discussions we will have heard before. Similarly, while some of the film's score is pretty good, giving the film some added pace and energy, some of it is also rather simplistic and derivative. Ultimately though, there's a reason this film has captured so many people's interest. I don't know if the filmmakers realize how big this is probably going to be. Grand Theft Hamlet marks the most ambitious crossover event of the year, Shakespeare in Los Santos. I highly recommend people check this out when it's released on December 6 in the UK and early next year everywhere else. And I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, please consider tipping me on Ko-Fi. The link is in the description, and also in the description is the link to my podcast, the Extreme Cinema Podcast. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.